if you're one of those individuals that pour into others, make sure there's somebody out there that you have in your corner that's there and willing and joyfully pouring into you. Individuals don't even know that they offended us. They could have said it in a joking manner. You took it offensively, and then nobody ever spoke up. I don't really have the skill to do anything at a collegiate or professional level. It's just a matter of just grinding nonstop and really getting after it. I tell everybody, life is a series of decisions. Every single day, we make decisions. The only decision we can't make is whether we gonna get up or not. And I mean, like, wake up. Y'all, yeah, clap it up, clap, 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 clap it up, clap, 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 clap. Hey y'all, welcome back to Insider Threat. And guess what? Today is the season wrap up. You see, I'm in my glasses. I have no cue cards. We are on pretty much just a season wrap up. We just finished last week with episode 20. This will make episode 21, but essentially, I don't know if I count it. I just kind of like to call it a season wrap up. But y'all, goodness gracious, 20 episodes, 20 weeks, 21 counting this one, but 20 episodes, 20 weeks. I first want to start by saying thank you all for tuning in, the likes, the comments, the shares, the follows. For the first season, which is a little heavy. I think most people would just kind of be like getting started, just like, I don't know how this is gonna go. Let's do about 5 or 10. And you know, as I do everything else, I just dove head first and sink or swim, basically. And my main focus was, I don't think I had a particular goal in mind for a certain number of followers or a certain number of shares or going viral or anything like that. I think my main goal in doing this podcast was just being obedient. Like I said, I got the idea for the podcast back in 2024, which is just last year. And it came from doing my annual training, and it really and truly, the name came about, not necessarily anything else. All I had was a name last year. And I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do a podcast because it needs to be talked about. So I went and I grabbed everything I could. I grabbed so much stuff. I got to grab all my cameras, all my equipment, and I kind of show y'all my little setup. I'm gonna grab one of the cameras in a little bit and show y'all the setup. I can do B-roll. I can show y'all the setup by just recording on my phone. But this is the setup. Oh, y'all gonna see all kind of stuff in the background. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. It's like a recording storage area type vibe thing. So, but yeah, this is the setup. But like I said, I just got super excited and I ordered everything and I'm gonna start a podcast. I got everything and I started getting into the Googling and researching, and like I said, nosedive into how to set up the cameras, how to set up the position, the angles, the lights, the audio and everything like that. And, you know, nothing came of it. And so this is kind of a lesson for everybody that, you know, had a goal and maybe have laid it down. A year later, that goal came back around, and it came back around through me watching a podcast through myself. And it just dropped in my spirit. Something reminded me, and I'd like to say it's the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit in the word, it says it'll call to your remembrance those things that you have read. So I like to apply it to anything. So when it dropped back in my spirit, I was like, oh yeah, I did want to start a podcast. And in that one night, which was back in end of May, God literally gave me everything else. And I can show y'all my notepad. I'll take a picture of it and put it up here somewhere. But this is the notepad, and I do a little flipperoo through it so you can like see. And it was just like in that night, God gave me all of the episode titles for season 1. And I think the next night he gave me all the episode titles for season 2. So we're definitely fully, you know, fueled as far as like the episodes and everything go. I got to go back through it and read and see exactly like what I want to kind of tailor it to, and gear each episode towards with the specific titles. Because granted, you know that the creativity behind the podcast is definitely tech. And man, I didn't know what direction he wanted me to go into with season 2, but with season 2, I think a few weeks ago, maybe like a couple months ago, a month or two ago, I was on a fast and I was praying. And in the midst of my prayer, I was like praying for different things, and then God dropped in my spirit exactly what he wants for season 2. So I am on the hunt for certain individuals for season 2. The guidance is, I'm very selective with who. I know a lot of people like, hey, I want to, get on the pod and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, great. Not to say that I won't have you on the pod. It's just a matter of when I'm instructed or led to do so. So if I say yes, and then I get with you on, when, then, it might not be season 2, maybe be season 3, but still. And yet we're going to get you on the pod. I'm not lying. It's just a matter of I have to be led to do certain things. So for season 2, I don't know if I should just say it. Maybe later. I might post it on the Facebook page. So you guys follow the Facebook page at Insider Thread TV and just keep up. But yeah, I'm fully directed on season 2. And then with season 2, there's a little hair on my lip somewhere. Oh, I think I got it. Yeah. Fully directed with season 2. So I'm just excited. But back to season 1. Thank y'all for the support. Thank y'all for sharing to all my guests. Oh my goodness. All the guests that agreed and y'all work with me to figure this time and schedule thing out, to give me a little bit of your time and your day, and just come and be courageous enough to tell your story. Man, thank you, because that's what this podcast is about. It's about being bold enough, being strong enough to tell your story, being transparent enough, vulnerable enough to pretty much point out like, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm just trying to make it. Right. And the ultimate goal is that through telling your story or through telling your testimony, somebody else can see themselves in you and just come forward and say, hey, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being bold to share. And then it can encourage them, maybe not in a public setting, but just encourage them to speak up. Right? We can't help anybody else unless we speak up and speak out and do it loudly and proudly, and understand that there's no shame on our end or on our part from the things that we went through. Right? It's not our shame to carry. It's not our it's not where we want to be bound. Right? So I just continue to encourage you all to tell your story and be free. And I thank y'all. Whatever step or phase you guys were comfortable enough sharing and telling, I just pray that just snowballs and you just get more and more bold and more courageous. And I just pray that God pours out all of his blessings on that he has for you on you, and everything that you do is aligned with his will, and he continue to direct, guide, and lead your paths. Man, I'm so happy for you guys. Thank you so much again. And with the boldness that you guys have came with and sat on these chairs with, man, I just hope it just creates a movement of people that's courageous enough to stand up. And again, I just thank you guys so much for giving me a piece of your day and telling your stories. Very heartfelt, very encouraging, and very motivational. And what I loved, reflecting back, what I loved is that for the people that everybody could deem as the strongest, right? I think they're right and wrong, correct? So they're right in the sense that you are strong. You're stronger than the people that's struggling to come forward right now, right? And that's not to say that those people can't exercise that muscle and strengthen it, because through encouragement and just surrounding yourself with the right words and terms and people and just an encouraging platform, they can be, strengthen themselves to come forward. And then they're wrong in the sense that You never know what people go through. You don't know people's life story. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they've had to live through to become the person that they are today. And so we need to get into the habit of checking on our people, like having a conversation. Stop prejudging people because of what the skin color is. Stop prejudging people because of what you think they might have or how you think they were raised, or maybe you think they were raised with a spoon, silver spoon or whatever like that. You don't know how expensive the oil that's on these people's lives are. We all have oil in our lamps, it's the Holy Spirit, and you don't know how hard they've had to fight to keep it or even get it, let alone keep it. So we just got to be willing to just have a conversation, have some talk it out with some people, y'all. Sit down with somebody that you don't know. You might know them in passing, but you don't fully know them. Just sit down and have a conversation. It's not going to hurt you. It's just going to open your eyes, open your perspective. Let's think back on some of the episodes, because just all the diversity of the crowd, it wasn't extremely diverse, but we're working on it. And so, but just the diversity of the background stories and the insights from each individual, whether it's the men, the women, black, white, whatever. Man, it's been great. So kicking things off back with what episode 2? We got to get into it. Let's see. Episode 2 was called Hurt Me with the Truth. And Miss Lanisha came through with the truth, didn't she? She told us we need to use a little bit of discernment here. We're gonna put in the videos like some shorts or something here. But she told us use a little bit of discernment. Everybody pressed on all sides. And we don't even know what's real or fake, right? So we got to use some discernment to kind of get to the bottom of it. And that discernment is going to be gained by observing and asking questions. Man, that was good. Going into episode 3, we had Burn the Blueprint. Yeah, we had Burn the Blueprint. Dom came and let us know about just some things she was struggling with and just how, you know, the blueprint doesn't always look one way. We can plan something and we can be dedicated to the plan, but more importantly, we need to be dedicated to the outcome versus the map that we've drawn to get there, right? Because we all know that most of the time it ain't gonna go the way we think it's gonna go. It's gonna take 30 turns and 2 rights before we even get to where we got get on the right track. So that was very insightful. Number 3, what was number 3? What was episode 4? I'm about to pull it up. I'm trying to remember, y'all. It's been 20 episodes. I'm trying to remember in order. I am. Yeah, I'm trying. All right, so number 4 was protect your peace like it's classified. That was a good one. Protecting your peace like it's classified. In other words, like it's secret. Like if it gets out, if it leaks, Lord, it's going to cause some grave damage to you or others, right? Especially to your peace. It's going to cause grave damage to you. So y'all just make sure you're protecting your peace. So doing what's best for you, not conforming to because somebody wants you to do this, or stop people, or not people pleasing, or just adhering to somebody else and not considering yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So the more you give, the more empty you're going to be, and you're going to be left with nothing. And that's why they say one thing about takers, they going to always take, right? So just make sure you're not pouring from an empty cup. If you're one of those individuals that pour into others, make sure there's somebody out there that you have in your corner that's there and willing and joyfully pouring into you. So that could be a spouse, a friend, parent, whatever. Just make sure you have that person, and goodness, you're going to be all right. You're going to make it. Make sure you stand tied in to the source and just be out. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. I'm right there with you, struggling through it, but we gonna make it. We gonna make it. Going into episode 5, motivation is a myth. Yes, motivation is a myth. And the reason I came up with motivation is a myth, which is a quote that I came up with. The reason I came up with is that I feel like I tie motivations to feelings, and I know that we know that feelings are fleeting. So it's like I can feel this way and I can be excited about this right now, and then in the next segment or season of my life, it's just like, man, I'm not into it. I feel like this about that. I'm not as excited about it. And so I don't want to do it. But whenever we're trying to attack a goal and trying to get to somewhere that we want to be, and we know it's hard, and we've been going through the ringer, going through the wire, man, talking about how the feelings can be up and down, but we have to consider that this still has to get done. So when it says motivation is a myth, to replace motivation, and it's not to say that sometimes, our feelings can change and shift, but to replace motivation, not necessarily replace it, but shift the focus. Let's put motivation as secondary and focus on discipline, right? We got to discipline ourselves. Discipline is really the reason we're not where we want to be, because discipline is going to keep us either on the right path, or being undisciplined is going to take us off that path. Motivation is just going to give us a little bit of encouragement. Motivation, we could motivate ourselves to stay off the course, and we can motivate ourselves to stay on course. I remember whenever, especially when it comes to working out, I be here and there, but it's just my discipline. I got to get back right, because I know I don't want to do it. I used to tell myself whenever I first started working out, I can go hard for like a week or two, right? My emotions, my motivation behind me not working out for like another week after that is that, I went hard for 2 weeks, so I don't need to work out this week. Does it add up? No. So yeah, let's just focus more so on discipline versus motivation. And that's what that episode was all about. Aisha came through and gave us some gems. I appreciate you, my girl. Be so real, it's a risk with my little brother. Yerkio, Yerk. That's what the kids call him at school. Man, it's we talked about how, adults aren't the only people that's going through things. And a lot of people like to say that, oh, you're so young, you ain't got no problems. You don't have any problems because you're so young. That's a myth. These kids going through it. These kids are going through it. Y'all make sure y'all sitting down and talking to your kids and having these hard conversations. It might be uncomfortable to you as a parent to hear some of the things that they're going through, but it's better to be uncomfortable as a parent than to have your kids dealing with some turmoil, and then the outcome of it, or the reaction to what they're going through, is something so detrimental that's not going to leave you uncomfortable. It's going to leave you distraught. It's going to leave you terrible and miserable and sad, right? Because the outcome can go in either way. Sit down and have these uncomfortable conversations with these kids. You think that they're still babies. I understand they're your baby, but you think that they're still too young to understand some real world things. But the kids in school are mean, and you want to be teaching your kids things before their friends and the world can teach them. So sit down and have those conversations with those kids and be real. Be so real, it's a risk. And just be willing to have those conversations with them, and make sure they have a safe space at home. It might not be with you. Their safe space might not be, they might not be comfortable talking to you as a mom or a dad, but if there's somebody that you see that they lean more towards, encourage that. And not to say like, oh, I want to be in their business. Like, no, encourage that. Give them their privacy to express their feelings and have an outlet, and, be able to talk that stuff out, because a lot of kids internalize things. So just keep that in mind, parents. What else? We going into episode 7, healing in private while hurting in public. And we had Graveyyy come on the pod, and he was just explaining pretty much the work that we do behind closed doors to heal is often overlooked by how we present ourselves in public, right? So there could be one incident where you reacted off emotions in public and people will hold that against you for the rest of your life, right? And so whereas you can look at the same incident and be like, well, I need to grow because I'm better than that. And you can actually do the work behind closed doors. But every time you show up and you can say, oh yeah, no, I've changed. I'm not like that anymore. But guess what? Everybody's going to think about that one time that you reacted off of emotions. Like, no, that's just him. He'll crack up. He'll nut up. And they literally just hold on to the past. Like for me, for instance, I used to party hard. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. I had to do some deep rooted, like revelation and finding myself and some self-reflection to understand like, okay, well, most of the time I go out, it's never that I wanted to go out or that I went and asked somebody, hey, y'all want to go out? I'm trying to go out. I'm trying to go have fun. I want to party. It was never that. It was always some of my friends like, hey, we going out. You trying to come? I was like, okay, yeah. It was rooted in people pleasing. And I tell anybody, even when it came to drinking, like I never really had a dependency on drinking. It was rooted in people pleasing. So my friends was like, oh, we're going to drink. You want to drink? I'm like, okay, why? Because I didn't know how to say no. And I used to tell my friends all the time, even in the midst of me not being able to say no, I used to tell my friends all the time, y'all, I don't need liquor to have a good time. Yeah. I never needed it to have a good time. And they'll be like, oh, okay. Like really, I never needed it. So it's just like, whenever I stopped drinking, it was certain individuals. I'm like, nah, every time I come around them, you want a shot? I'm like, yo, I don't drink hard liquor no more. Don't get me wrong. I'll have a glass of wine, a glass or two of wine. Don't get me wrong. Hard liquor, I don't do it. The vodkas and the tequilas anymore. Well, I never did vodka like that. Ugh. But the tequilas and the Hennessy and not Henny, the tequilas and the VSOPs of it all, I don't do that no more. But guess what? Every time I come around certain individuals, they steady. We drinking tonight, and all I can do is no. I mean, y'all can drink. Y'all probably drinking. I'm not. That's how I respond. Like, y'all probably are. I'm not. But they just can't let it go. So just the work you do behind closed doors doesn't get as much shine as, you know, the things that we might have did in our past in public. And you have to be okay with that. And you have to be okay with moving forward. And maybe your growth doesn't get acknowledged until later on down the line. You just have to be okay with that. Let them, you know, stay where they are, and you just continue to move forward and grow. So going into episode 8, my boy Bird came through with the on the topic of your circle is a threat vector. And it's pretty much being mindful of the people that you keep around you and really being real selective about who's around you, what you're sharing to certain individuals. Keeping in mind that I understand that you might have grown up with somebody, but you can't take everybody with you. So you have to be, not only are you being mindful of who's around you, you have to be okay with letting certain people that's around you go in order to better yourself and grow and become who you're supposed to be, your fullest potential in Christ, to chase after the purpose that he has for your life. And so coming into number 9, coming in hot, Miss Ashley Cope. She came through on the topic of 0 to heaven, which is a play on the the phrase when people are, oh, you go low, I'm gonna go to hell. So 0 to 100, we switched and said 0 to heaven because it was a topic on forgiveness and holding grudges and stuff like that. And the reason being is 0 to heaven, we got to go up and lay it at his feet and truly unburden ourselves with a lot of stuff that we're holding on from our past. People, a lot of things that we can get offended by, individuals don't even know that they offended us. They could have said it in a joking manner. You took it offensively, and then nobody ever spoke up. So it's also a topic on speaking up. Say something. If you're really feeling some type of way about certain individuals or how they treated you at one point in time, speak up. Because if they haven't apologized yet, they either one, they didn't take it offensively, two, they don't know that they offended you. And if you will be surprised who will be grown enough or mature enough to be like, oh, dang, I didn't know you took it that way. I apologize. And it's so simple for you to just speak up, and then dang, right then and there, you got what you've been looking for this whole time. So yeah, speak up. Coming in hot with episode 10. Coming in hot with episode 10, which is check on me. And it was a topic on the strong friends, right? And so, but it was also a topic on, it was a reverse as well, because not only do people say that nobody checks on a strong friend, the strong friend generally always lying about what they're going through. And they're like, how you doing? She's like, I'm good, I'm straight. So it's just it was a pretty much guidance on speak up, say how you feel, say what you're feeling, and be bold and courageous in that. And don't hide from that. Don't, because you can be vulnerable, and that there's strength in vulnerability. Being vulnerable don't make you weak. You're just, if they look at me like this, they gon' think I'm something else or something that I'm not. No, you're still that tower. You just got a little broke peg, but guess what? Once you identify the peg that's broken in the tower, guess what you gonna do? Fix it. So you're gonna be stronger after you acknowledge the weaknesses or the things that you're dealing with. So yeah, check on me. Okay, coming into episode 11 with Mr. Ricky, RJ. I call him Rick, y'all. His topic was order by, and it was just a matter of how we order our lives and pretty much the structure that we've laid out or become accustomed to over time, and how it plays on everyday life, like how we operate, whether it, for Ricky, it was over the topic of, how he maneuvers with his kids, how he maneuvers at work. And then a lot of us, I think, as far as men can relate, is when you have babies by multiple women, it's kind of hard to kind of navigate and to structure your day or structure your time so that you're making sure neither kid is falling by the wayside. Or, I mean, if you really care about your kids and being a part of their life, I think it's kind of hard to navigate that space of, dang, we're not under the same roof. So now I have to make time for work, make time for this kid, make time for that kid, make time for the, maybe I still have to have some me time. Like, it's a lot. And then family time, my parents and everything like that. It's a lot to handle. So the topic was pretty much just, how do we order all that? And, what tools and tips and tricks that we put into place to kind of help navigate that space. And so it's a good conversation. Now I'm doing a little quick high level 50-foot view of each of these episodes. But if you guys hear a topic that you're relating to, or that you kind of like, the YouTube got all of them, all 20 episodes, y'all. And then coming into episode 12, it's not a secret. It's just none of their business. Let me say that again. It's not a secret. It's just none of their business. And so my big cuz Thurman came over, and he pretty much was just saying like, hey, it's okay to keep what you got going on a secret until it's time to present it to the world. And that's the same way that God treats us. Like, it's okay with cloaking yourself or being cloaked by God, or, hiding your talents and stuff like that until you feel like you're ready to be able to manage the scrutiny that comes with it, to be able to manage the praise that come with it, and not take that to head and be like, oh, I'm the man, I'm the king, da da da. Yeah, it's okay to be cloaked. And you don't have to tell all your business. People can ask you questions. You're like, yeah, I'm just not, I'm not saying anything on that right now. Not speaking on the topic. It is what it is. But you just have to be comfortable in that space. And like I said, it's not a secret. It's just none of their business. Who I deal with on a personal level, on a relationship level, it's not a secret. It's just none of their business. Now I could tell it when I want to tell it. When I want to drop a little baby pic, yeah, I could tell that. but it's not a secret. It's just none of your business, which pretty much states that I'm not obligated to tell you this. I'm just saying. All right, going into episode 13, which we have logical validation. And that's just pretty much us trying to get validation from being in the wrong and keeping those yes men around us, and just wanting to be right in our own ideas, and pretty much not being that student that we're supposed to be. We're justified in our actions, in our thoughts, because we're going to surround ourselves with other people that's going to think just like us. And guess what? If they don't think like me, at least they're going to support me in how I think. We don't do that over here. If that's you, stay there. Because that's a limiting belief. That's a limiting mindset, not a growth mindset. And we like to grow. Did I get big? We like to grow and expand over here. We don't stay limited. We don't do that. Okay, going into episode 14. It's the principle. And that just kind of was a conversation about the principles that we live by. What pretty much guides us, whether it's, our morals and our principles, honesty, truth, integrity, just all the things, what guides us and what guides us to make the decisions that we're making, what guides us to, especially when it comes to the people that's around us, what's guiding us to pretty much be like, you know what, I like you, I can rock with you, we kind of on the same wave. What drives that, right? And how does it affects us? And then it was also a reflection on what principles did we kind of get introduced to growing up that we might have taken on, but it's not necessarily serving us in our adulthood. We might have got to adulthood and it was just like, well, I can change this because it's not working. Basically, it's not working. So it was a really, really good conversation. And my mama came through, Miss LaVon. My mama came through and she was open and honest, and just, a lot of her morals and principles was rooted in the way that her mom had raised her and her siblings, and just growing as an adult and navigating this world, it kind of thwarted her, and just the different experiences that she had, it kind of allowed her to maneuver in a way that she might not have thought she would have, but over time she just adapted and adopted those principles and morals. So yeah. And then coming into episode 15, and it said, if there's an example, it debunks the myth. And I came up with this quote, and the reason I came up with this quote is because a lot of people like to blame their environment, right? But if me and you, say for instance, you and I are from the same background, right? And I make it out, but you don't. And it's not from a simple fact that I'm not slinging, doing anything illegal, or I don't really have the skill to do anything at a collegiate or professional level. It's just a matter of just grinding nonstop and really getting after it. Whenever you see that I made it, you didn't, you're going to have to stop and take some self-inventory and be like, oh, so like, what's so different about her than me, right? It's really and truly the quote was pretty much to drive self-reflection and to get you to the point where you understand, like, no, it's possible. I'm just not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or I'm not doing as much as I could be doing. So then it's just to encourage you to be better. And we had Miss Westlove, Miss Kelsey West, come through, and she dropped some gems, and her main thing was she was discussing pretty much the mental health aspect of it all. A lot of people are held back because they're not acknowledging what they're going through. They're not speaking up about, what they're struggling with. And she spoke on her, suicidal attempts, and just how the circumstances surrounding what she was going through caused her to drive her to those decisions. And coming out on the backside, she explained to us, how it feels to have overcome that stage and to be where she is today, not thinking that she was going to make it. And then here she is making it, right? Very, very good topic, you guys. I encourage you, again, if you have not watched any of these episodes, to go back. This is a very 50-foot view of the episode topics. But the meat and potatoes in there down in the 110, 50 foot view. Yes. Am I saying 50 foot view? It's a 50,000 foot view. So, the 50 foot view is where you're going to get that good meat and potatoes and be able to fully understand and maybe even relate on some grounds. But I just encourage y'all to go watch it. So going into episode 16, and episode 16 is just like I said, the topic of episode 16 is you're a product of your decisions, not your environment. And that just encourages us to make better decisions. Stop being a victim or having that, taking on that victim mindset. Speak that over yourself. I do not have a victim mindset. I am powerful. I'm strong. I am exercising my free will to make the decisions that that will benefit me in the future. Right. And so it was a topic pretty much on making better decisions. We can't sit and blame our environment for everything that we're going through. We have to understand that we're at the age of understanding, and that anything that I'm going through, I had a hand in putting myself in there because I had to first either agree to something or disagree to something. And I tell everybody, life is a series of decisions. Every single day we make decisions. The only decision we can't make is whether we gonna get up or not. And I mean, like, wake up. That's Jesus all day. If we gonna have breath the next morning, that's Jesus all day. But after we get up and open our eyes, every step from there is a decision. We can decide to spend a little time with Jesus and pray and make sure my relationship with him is prioritized. We can decide to get up and go to work, and we could decide to get up and eat. We could decide to get up and not eat. It's all decision. It's a series of decisions. So nobody can sit and say, oh, well, they did it to me. Like, you had a hand in it. Whatever you're going through, you have to realize that you have had a hand in it because you had to first make a decision before anything after that transpired. Don't get me wrong. There are situations where people forcefully do things against your will. You get what I'm saying? But anything that you have actively decided to place yourself in, it was a decision. And most of the time, most decisions, you can kind of already figure out where it's going to go. Like, if I decide this is probably X, Y, and Z probably going to happen. If I do this, A, B, and C will probably going to happen. Just realize that you have a hand in it. Change your decision, change your mindset, change your decisions, change your outcome. All right. Change your mindset, change your decisions, change your outcome. That's what episode, 17 was about. No, it's not. Episode 17 is about the ghost mode, going ghost mode. And Alex came through with a whole bunch of gems. My goodness, she came through with a whole bunch of gems. She came through with the gems on pretty much just how she's not dependent on social media. And she gave us some real tea, man. It was such a good conversation. I was showing all 32 teeth the whole time. But the conversation was top tier. Man, you guys got to watch it. But ultimately, ghost mode is when you need that time away, but you're struggling internally to actually separate yourself from the things that you're dependent on, whether that's social media or just the things that you feel like just take you away from spending time and pretty much gaining that inner peace and investing too much of yourself, either spiritually, mentally, physically, into one place, and making sure solitude is protected. And like I said, the conversation was so good. And then coming into episode 18 with Miss Taylor McBride. And then she pulled on all the heartstrings, y'all, but she told us about her, mental health struggles and just navigating that, being undiagnosed with a mental disorder all and throughout her 20s, and having to come to the realization of, hey, I need help. It was just a great topic on self-reflection and pretty much having to hit rock bottom before you can go up. And she was so courageous and so bold and so grateful to have had her on and share her story. All of them, everybody. And so coming into episode 19, which was the default settings. And the default settings, it was just pretty much a topic on what we've succumbed to over time, whether that's through life experiences, certain expectations that society places on us, societal pressures that we might have given into, and how that looks for us today, right? How did that show up in our life? And how do we kind of overcome that? Some things are acceptable, some things are, but other things that's not so acceptable. How do we overcome that and become better, right? And so, really good conversation. Well, not necessarily a conversation, but really good topic. So going into episode 20, last week's episode, my girl Sherelle Waters came through and she dropped some gems. One of her not her topics, but one of her quotes was, "You're not a victim, you're a volunteer." And that how she explained it, she said pretty much it's kind of like a play on you're a product of your decisions. At some point you stop being a victim and becoming a volunteer because you can decide to go and do something else, but you're still actively deciding to stay in sadness, stay in fear, stay in wherever you are. You're actively deciding to stay there because you feel like, and it's all a lie, but you feel like you can't have anything better. You deserve it, or, just all the limiting beliefs that can kind of populate in your mind and make you think that this is where you have to be, this is where you need to be. And then she just explained, some of the struggles that she went through and kind of talked about, the pressures that she feels to make some of the decisions that she makes in her professional life, and how she's, planning on overcoming that and implementing new tips and tricks and tools to try to just be right. Don't get me wrong. We have goals and aspirations, but our goals and aspirations should be solely dependent on, because it's what we want to do, not because somebody else is pressuring us to do it. And pressure can be either through, just somebody looking up to you. You'll be pressured to do something, but we should be doing what we want to do solely based off of the grounds that it's because I want to do it. All right. I don't want to do anything that I don't want to do, and you don't have to. So then that's the season wrap up. That's everything that we kind of, like I said, a 50,000 foot view of each episode. And it was some amazing conversations and some amazing topics. I'm super excited for you guys to watch season 2. We are going to still be putting out content, but season 2 actually doesn't start for at least 4 weeks. The air date will be posted on social media, and it's our little season interlude. I think that's the name. But yeah, it's our little seasonal break. But again, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much for the support. And I'm excited to watch this thing grow. I'll stay committed as long as God wants me to be committed. We might have some spin-off stuff. You never know. That's future stuff. But as long as God wants me to stay committed in whatever he wants me to do and lead me to do and guide me, remember, I'm only on one person's schedule, and that's his. So thank y'all. Thank you again. And just be blessed. I love y'all. Keep Jesus at the center of your life and just watch how it flourishes. You can't go wrong. You literally cannot go wrong. He doesn't lose. He doesn't miss. You can't go wrong with him. Try Jesus. And that is the grounds of everything that I do. Is just try Jesus. Keep yourself in a scientific mindset, as in with retrospect to just the fact that they test everything. And when you find something that works, stick with it. And for me, Jesus has worked time and time again. So I love you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you again. And for the last time, that is all for today, folks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this episode with your friends if it's blessed you. You guys can follow the podcast at Insider Threat TV on all platforms. You guys can follow me at I'm Graveyyy. That is with 3 Y's on Instagram. And on that note, I say protect your peace, audit your code, and as always, logging off for now. Your web tip of the day is coming up next.